Hello, everyone. This is Grace, and I'm going to talk about investment and insurance for Pinoys. Ano ba yung mga popular investments ngayon sa mga Pinoys, no? Ngayong 2021. All right. So just a little bit of background. I'm Grace Peñas, and I'm an associate unit manager with Film Life and also a licensed financial advisor. And I'm also the founder of Global Vantage Portfolios, having 13 years of experience in international stock markets. I decided to become a financial advisor. So because this is more a fulfilling job. All right. So let's proceed. Sa work ko ever since as a financial advisor now, ever since I've been encountering a lot of clients, I always get asked this question of the many options available out there for me. Ano ba yung tamang investment sa akin as isang tao na gustong mag-ipon, di ba? Sino ba naman gustong ayaw yumaman or ayaw yumaman, no? So I always answer them with this. Okay, just to correctly answer the question is you always have to consider two things, risk and time. Okay, let's talk about risk. Okay, this is a hard fact that you have to understand that the higher the risk, the higher the return. So for me to be able to explain, para mas maintindihan nyo ano bang ibig sabihin ko nito, I'll show you a story, a stake story that I created a few years ago. No, para mas fun. So let me share this part. Nakatira siya sa isang simpleng start. Ayan. Magandang araw. Ikukwento ko ngayon sa inyo ang kwento ni Kaalas. Si Kaalas ay isang empleyado dati ng Alaska na nag-retire ng maaga. Nakatira siya sa isang simpleng barangay. Nag-alala siya nang pumutok ang balita ng COVID. Kanilig nga siya ng usap-usapan sa mga kapitbahay niya. Sana daw sila mag-grocery ng pang-inom na gatas ng mga anak nila. Kaya kaching! Nakakita ng opportunity si Kaalas na mag-business na pinangalan niyang Gatas ni Kaalas. Nag-invest siya ng 100,000 na puhunan. Grabe, hindi niya akalain na ang taas ng demand sa gatas ni Kaalas kaya naisip niyang mag-expand. Sabi niya, kakailanganin ko ng 500,000 kasi sayang yung opportunity ngayon. Buti na lang, may mga kaibigan siya. Si Kasosyo. Sabi ni Kasosyo, "Uy, Kaalas, ang ganda ng business mo. Sama mo naman ako. Kaya kong mag-ambag ng 250,000. Basta isama mo ako sa kikitain mo." At natuwa ang magkaibigan sa plano nila. Pero sabi ni Kaalas, naku, kulang pa, parang magandang takbo ng negosyo ko, kulang pa tong kapital ko. Kaya kinausap ni Kaalas ang kanyang kaibigan sa bangko, si Kabang. Ang bungad sa kanya ni Kabang, "Uy, Kaalas, balita ko ang ganda ng takbo ng negosyo mo ha. Kung kailangan mo ng kapital, nandito lang ang bangko para sa'yo. Sa maliit na interes, kaya ka naming pahiramin." At naging masayang pirmahan ng magkaibigan. Ang istorya ni Kaalas ay istorya ng pangkaraniwang negosyante na naghahanap ng kapital. Kaya para ma-relate natin sa topic, ito siya. Isipin natin na naging corporate na si Kaalas. Dahil sumama sa pangangkapital si Kasosyo, siya ay isa na ding may-ari ng gatas ni Kaalas. In other words, siya ay stockholder or may-ari ng stocks ng gatas ni Kaalas. Dalawang paraan para kumita si Kasosyo sa pagiging stockholder. Una, hintayin niyang kumita o magkaroon ng dividends. O pangalawa, ibenta niya ang shares niya sa mas malaking halaga. Sa dalawang paraan na ito, wala siyang garantiya na maibabalik sa kanya ang kapital na pinuhunan niya. Samantala, ang pag-utang ni Kaalas sa bangko ni Kabang ay iba naman. Ang bangko ay isang debtor o nagpautang kay Kaalas. Ang tawag sa kontrata nilang dalawa ay bonds o kasulatan ng pagpapautang. Nakasaad sa kasulatan ito na kailangang magbayad ng interes ni Kaalas at kailangan niya ring ibalik ang hiniram niyang kapital or else maiilit ang mga pagmamay-ari niya. Sa pagpapahiram ng pera,
Kumita ang bangko ni Kabang ng interes. Dahil sa garantiyang ito, mas kampante si Kabang. Sa kahit anumang transaksyon sa pera, ang lagi nating iisipin ay ito. The higher the risk, the higher the returns. The lower the risk, the lower the returns. Si kasosyo, since walang garantiya ng kikitain niya, mas mataas ang risk niya na binigay niyang kapital kaysa kay Kabang. Sa tunay na buhay, ang kitaan sa stocks can be as high as 16% to 40%. Ang kitaan sa bonds can be as low as 0.1% to 5%. Ngayon, punta tayo sa mas exciting na storya. Maraming kaalas ng negosyante sa Pilipinas. Ang pamilya ni Henry C., Lucio Tan, Manny Pangilinan, etc. Karaniwan sa kanila makikita mo sa Philippine Stock Exchange. Sa dami nila, minsan hindi mo na alam kung sino pipiliin mo. Normally kasi kailangan mong tingnan ang mga libro nila at bantayan ang stocks nila araw-araw. Pero wala ka namang oras. Kaya ginawa ang mutual funds. Ang mutual funds, or in other terms, unit investment trusts, ay pinagsama-samang purely stocks, purely bonds, or magkahalong bonds at stocks. Ang pinagkaiba nito ay may fund manager na nag-iisip at nagbabantay ng investment mo para sa'yo. Ang kitaan sa mutual fund ay nasa gitna ng kita sa stocks at kita sa bonds. That's between 1% to 27%. Sa hierarchy ng risk, ganito siya. May 4 na klase ng mutual funds. Una, cash management funds ay mga pondong may garantiya ng ating gobyerno. Second, bond funds. These are bonds na binigay o in-issue ng mga corporate. Third is balance funds. Yan ay combination ng 50% bonds, 50% stocks, or a combination of percentages. Fourth type are stocks or equity funds na may 2 klase. Una, index funds na ang composition ay top 30 Philippine corporations. At pangalawa ay aggressive funds. Ang goal ng aggressive funds ay masigitan ang kikitain ng index funds. So, as you can see, ang pinakamalaking risk ay ang stock or equity funds. At dahil ang aggressive funds, ang goal niya ay sigitan ang kita ng index funds, siya ang pinaka-aggressive sa lahat ng funds. So ulit, ang cash management, ang pinaka-smallest risk, papunta tayo sa pinaka-4, ang highest risk ay stocks or equity funds. Ngayon, punta tayo sa insurance. May insurance ngayon na may mutual funds na sa loob. Yun ang i-discuss ko. Ang insurance ay isang paraan para maprotektahan mo ang pera mo, pagmamay-ari mo, at ang mga taong mahal mo. Ikumpara natin ang pag-iipon mo sa bangko at pagkakaroon ng insurance. Say for example, nag-start kang mag-ipon ng 5,000 sa bangko mo 3 months ago. Tapos, nag-iisip kang mag-ipon din sa insurance, same amount, 5,000 pesos. So, after 3 months, may 15,000 ka na ngayon sa bangko. Kung nag-ipon ka sa insurance ng same amount, may 15,000 ka na rin doon. Tapos, na-ospital ka. Kailangan mo ng 300,000 para sa sakit mo. Ano mangyayari sa 15,000 mo sa bangko? I-withdraw mo, di ba? Paano yung balanse ng 300,000? Paano kung in-invest mo siya sa insurance? Intact yung 15,000 mo at sagot ko ng insurance company mo ng 300,000 for your illness coverage. Yan mga kaibigan ang pinakasimpleng kwento ni Kaalas bilang negosyante, ang kwento mo bilang investor, at ang kwento ng stocks, bonds, mutual funds, at insurance. Salamat po sa pakikinig.
All right. So yan. So I hope you're able to enjoy the story of Kaalas. So let's go back to my screen. No? Caption. Go back to my screen and let's share. Okay. So again, the higher the risk, the higher the returns. As you can see, di ba? Sa stocks, walang guarantee yung return ng ating capital. Pag bumili tayo ng shares ng kahit anong sikat na company or kahit mga private companies, there's no guarantee na yung pinangbili natin sa kanila is mababalik sa atin. As opposed to kapag ang nagpautang tayo sa bank or to anyone, utang ang tawag doon. It's called a bond. So by law, pwede mong indemanda ang pag di nagbayad ng nagkautang sa'yo. Kaya that's why for any investment combination na merong purely bonds, it's a lot safer as opposed to any investment na merong stocks. So sa hierarchy of risk, ayan, as the number of, 'di ba, meron tayong mga fixed interest, that's basically yung cash deposit to our bank accounts, basically almost cash. Yung kinikita niyan is 0.1%. At meron tayong mga bonds na in-issue ng corporation. So by law, dapat i-return nila yun, no? Sa mga pinagkakautangan nila. And then we have mutual funds, yung pinakita ko kanina sa video. So yung mutual funds, merong apat na main classes, okay? Which is cash management, bond funds, balance fund, and stock funds. So, depende yan. So, mas malaki syempre yung mga mutual funds na may mga stocks. Mas malaki yung risk nun. Tapos, syempre, sa purely stocks, okay? So, yung stock, syempre, mas malaki yung risk nun kasi compared sa mutual funds, no? Mas mataas kasi wala ka ng fund manager, nagmamanage para sa'yo, di ba? And then, of course, yung derivatives and other types of investment. So, hindi ko na nabanggit dito sa derivatives, kasama dyan yung ibang available, which is options, currencies. So, yung mga available sa atin as Pinoys. Okay? Okay, maingay yung kapitbahay namin. Work from home kasi ako. Anyway, ayun. So, Forex yan, ano pa bang cryptocurrency yan, sobrang high risk na sila kasi akala ng iba kahit dahil nagpo-forex ka, konti lang yung ini-invest mo. Pero actually, dahil yung mga hindi natutulog na mga investment options, talagang sobrang high yung risk. Kasi imagine mo, kailangan mong magising, mag-monitor sa kanila 24 hours a day and make sure na you're monitoring yung economy's backing there. And mas lalo pa yung cryptocurrency kasi wala siyang backing. So, ayan. So, just to explain lang na sobrang high talaga yung reason. You have to understand. Okay? And then this is another fact, hard fact that you have to understand about investments is the bigger the cost, the earlier you need to start investing. So, in other words, the older you get, the more you need protection. So, kailan ba natin kailangan yung malalaking investment sa life natin? It's actually later in life kasi syempre we have the retirement, kailangan natin pag-ipon ng retirement. Syempre, alam naman habang buhay tayo magtrabaho, di ba? Tapos, syempre, you have yung mga pangarap mo, gusto mo bumili ng bahay, ng kotse, gusto mo mag-invest sa business, and ano pa ba? Syempre, pag kailan ba tayo usually nagkakasakit, it's really somewhere later in life. Kaya, there's a fact of life that you have to accept. Wala tayong magagawa doon. So, kaya, as you go later in the time of your life, okay, the higher the cost of the things that you have to, na kailangan mong pag-ipunan. So basically, ganun siya. Okay? So another factor about time that you have to consider is you can either have it as a friend or a foe. Say for example, for this one, no? So meron tayong Mr. Early, Mr. Later, tsaka si Mr. Late. Pare-pareho silang nag-invest ng 5,000 per month. Okay? So si Mr. Early, 30 years old siya nag-start mag-invest ng 5,000 a month. Si Mr. Later, siya patumpik-tumpik pa siya. After 10 years, saka siya nag-start mag-save ng 5,000 pesos every month. And si Mr. Late, so super late na, 50 years old na siya nag-start, mag-invest ng 5,000 monthly savings. So lahat sila, they invested for 10 years. Okay? So total ng investment nilang lahat, silang tatlo, no? Walang pinagkaiba, 600,000. But then, at the retirement age of 60, si Mr. Early, ang value ng kanyang pera is 5.5 million. Okay? That's at age 60. Si Mr. Later na siya nag-invest, no? So still 600,000 pa rin yung total niya, pero yung value ng kanyang retirement fund at age 60 is 1.8 million na lang. Okay? And si Mr. Super Late talaga, at 50 years old na siya nag-invest. No? Same thing, 600,000 pa rin yung total ng investment. However, yung value ng investment niya at the time of retirement, at age 60 is only 800,000 pesos. So pili ka, alin ang gusto mo, saan mo gusto magsimula? Sa year 30, year 40, or year 50 years old ka na. So, siyempre ako gusto ko 5.5 million. That's why I started when I was 30. Actually, dapat earlier pa. Pero at least, di ba, I started earlier. Hindi ako si Mr. Later. Okay? Another factor of time is, gusto mo ba siya maging enemy? So, yan, ni-research ko pa talaga yan. No? Noong year 2000, pwede ka makabili ng 4 na pansit canton. 5 pesos isa lang yan, no? Time na yon. So, tanong nga, di ba, sa commercial, hanggang saan naabot ang 20 pesos mo? Ngayon, ngayong 2020, kaka-research ko lang ng isang araw, ang price ng isang pansit canton is 11 pesos and 80 centavos. So, isa na lang ang mabibili mo. So, anong ibig sabihin yan? This is the inflation. Yan ang ibig sabihin yan, inflation. Okay, so kung hindi mo kakaibiganin ng time, makakalaban mo talaga siya. Kasi as you imagine, this is our latest inflation rate, 3.03%. Ano bang ibig sabihin? Bakit kailangan mo malaman ng inflation rate na 3.03%? Ibig sabihin yan, you have to make sure na kung ano man yung papasukin mo na investment should be higher than this inflation rate. Otherwise, kunwari, meron kang extra money. Nilagay mo siya lahat sa bangko at ang gikitain lang ng pera mo sa bangko ay 0.01%. Tapos ang tinaas ng presyo is 3.03%. Lugi ka. Kumbaga, yung pera mo ngayon makakabili ng isang sakong bigas. Kung nilagay mo lang yan sa bangko, baka kalahating bigas na lang mabili mo after 10 years, di ba? So, ganon. So, you have to make sure na yung investments mo should always be higher. Yung interest rate, okay? Kung may extra money, should be higher than the inflation rate, okay? Should always be higher. Kasi malulugi ka talaga kapag hindi mo sinakyan ang inflation rate or mas higher pa doon. Okay, kaya you always have to be friend time. So, ano bang ibig kong sabihin doon? Okay? So, kailangan mong pumili talaga. You have to make sure na yung investment na pinapasukan mo is a combination. Hindi pwedeng isa-isa lang. Kasi iba-iba yung goal mo eh. Okay? For example, short term, okay? Ang kasama dito eh, syempre, pambili ng gadget, pang grocery, pang emergency fund. Yan. Kasi, syempre, pag emergency fund nga dapat gusto mo available agad-agad para siyang ATM. So, dapat ilagay mo siya sa mga bank deposit accounts mo or dun sa mga investment vehicles na madaling ma-withdraw. Kasi, yun nga, immediate nga, short term nga, reap in 1 year, diba? Okay, and then for your medium-term goals, retirement, gusto mo mag-retire in the next 2 to 5 years or gusto mo mag-travel, gusto mo bumili ng kotse. So, that's when you decide for an investment na sasakay sa inflation kasi 5 years pa eh. Okay? So, 5 years. So, kung ilalagay mo yung pera mo sa bangko tapos pambili ng ganyan, kumusta ka naman? Buti kung umabot yung pera mo sa pambili ng kotse or pang-travel mo. Pero kung ang goal mo is 2 to 5 years yan, pwede na si bonds, si UITF, si mutual funds, si stocks. Diba sabi ko kanina, kapag nag-invest ka sa ganito, sa mga ganyang mutual funds, si mutual fund, that's between, magkano makataan niya ngayon? That's between negative ngayon kasi pandemic. So negative 4% up to yung nakita ko na pinakamalaki so far is around 40% na mutual fund. So malalaman nyo yung mga mutual funds namin na kahit pandemic, sobrang ganda ng kinikita. And also stocks, syempre stocks, merong possibility yan. Within 5 years, mas malaki na yung kikitain mo kasi stocks yan. So again, there's a risk, diba? The higher the risk, the higher the returns. Let me remind you again and again and again. Important yan. And then for any long-term investment, super long-term. So sabi ko nga, the longer, the higher the cost na gusto mong i-attain, the longer yung time na kailangan mong ibigay sa kanya. Kasi any investment that promises you na sobrang laking return in such a short time, scam yun. Ever. Wala ba akong nakitang nag-promise ng return ng 200%, tapos wala kang gagawin, tapos maririp mo siya in 6 months. Posible yun sa sobrang high risk na investments. Pero yung upo ka lang, tapos wala kang gagawin, malabo yun. Okay. So, what I'm saying is, for example, for long-term goals, like college fund ni anak mo, kuwari kakapanganak mo pa lang, di ba? Kailan ba siya mag-18? College fund, di ba? So, that's 18 years na pag-iipon from the time na sinilang anak mo. And then also, pag business, di ba? Kailangan mo ng capitalization sa business. Magkano ba capital ngayon ng franchise, di ba? Mga 300,000, 400,000, di ba? Yung mga ganun, yung franchise. So, dapat deep talaga yung pocket mo kung gusto mo mag-ipon ng business. And then house, syempre, mahal ang house, di ba? Means millions. Okay? And then retirement fund, syempre, if you want us to calculate your retirement fund, no, based on sa akin, when I had my retirement fund computed when I was 30 years old, at ang sabi sa akin ng financial advisor ko, which is na-prove ko naman na tama naman talaga siya, is 27 million pesos ang kailangan kong ipunin, guys, when I was 30. Tapos gusto ko mag-retire ng 60 years old. I need to have 27 million to be able to live peacefully and happily retiree. Okay? So, ganun kalaki. And dapat talaga, I am investing in a vehicle that's gonna help me get to where I want. So, nakikita niyo yung stars niya. Ibig sabihin, for me to be able to get to these long-term goals, kailangan you have to invest in bonds, ETF, mutual funds, and of course, insurance. Okay, that's another vehicle. Okay, ayan. So, ang trabaho namin as financial advisors, for us to be, kailangan namin to recommend correctly sa inyo, guys. Otherwise, wala. Scam to. Okay? So, huwag kayo magtitiwala sa mga financial advisor na binentahan lang kayo tapos hindi kayo pinlano, diba? Binentahan lang kayo ng insurance tapos hindi kayo pinlanohan ng dapat magplano kayo sa emergency fund, ganyan. So, wala. Hindi sila katiwa-tiwala. Ganun yan. Okay? So, kaya tinuturuan ko yung mga financial advisors ko na make sure na merong emergency fund ang inyong mga client before you recommend an insurance. Kasi ang insurance po ay hindi ATM. Okay? Hindi siya pang short-term goals. Na kunwari nagkaroon ng aksidente, nagkaroon ng emergency, nasunugan ng bahay, for example, wala nagkasakit, diba? Iba yung insurance yun eh. So kung nasunugan ng bahay, emergency yun. So saan ko kukuha ng pera? Diba dapat sa emergency funds mo, hindi sa insurance mo. Kasi insurance mo, it's actually for your sickness, for the big things that na covered nung policy mo. Okay? Yan. So, just to give a preview, a typical working Pinoy typically earns 44,600 every month. Okay? Tapos, according to the latest survey, Consumer Financial Survey ni BSP ng 2019, most of the Pinoy spend their money for bank savings, about 6% lang. And then lahat ng iba for food, beverage, house utilities, health, medical services, communication, blah, blah. So, bank and savings niya, kasama na yung investment, is only 6%. Okay, magkano ba 6% na 44,000? Compute natin. Times 0.6. Okay, that's 2,640. So, maliit lang yan. Pero at least nag-iipon si Pinoy. So, ano ba yung mga popular investments sa Pinas ngayon? So, sabi ko nga dito, make money work for you. It does not sleep, get tired, or go on vacation. So, dapat passive income tayo in addition to our active income. Dapat marami talaga tayong sources of income. Okay? So, I'll give you the pros and cons for each investment. So, sabi ko nga kanina, stocks, possible high return of investment, and you are an owner of the company. So, ito yung mga company na palagi natin nakikita sa commercials. SM, si Jollibee, Universal Robina, BDO, yan. However, if you're a stockholder, kailangan mong tingnan yung stock market ng every second habang open yung stock market, di ba? Sa Pilipinas, ang stock market open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you have the time in the world na mag-monitor ng stocks, then go ahead. You can do that. Okay? Kaya lang risk niyan kung hindi mo nabantayan ng stocks mo, you have the great amount of loss when stocks fail. At kung hindi mo alam paano laruin yon, yung stock market. Kaya dapat, kung gusto mong matutunan ng stock market, you have to educate yourself. Keep on educating yourself. Kaya naman kasi. Okay? And also, you gotta have time to monitor. Okay? Si bonds naman, the thing with bonds is, yes, possible high pa rin yung return. That's defined high. Okay? For bonds ngayon, that's between, I would say, 2% to 5%. Okay na yung kitaan na yun sa bonds. Dito sa Pilipinas, ha? And of course, you have the legal protection kasi you are protected by law na kapag merong umutang sa'yo, dapat bayaran ka or otherwise madidemanda mo sila ng estafa. Okay? So, reliable cash streams kasi ano yan may interest yan. So, dapat ibabalik ng company na umutang sa'yo or tao na umutang sa'yo yung kanya interest sa inutang niya. However, meron tayong mga bonds. Ito kasi yung mga ayan. Para magbigay lang ako ng example. So, this is a type of, kasi there are two issuers of bonds, no? So, gobyerno ng Pilipinas, tapos mga companies. So, same exact companies na pinanggagalingan ng stocks, they also issue bonds. Okay? So, for example, this is offered by the Republic of the Philippines. Si BPI lang yung bangko niya, pero this is actually a treasury note yata to. That's how it is advertised in our diarios, okay, or in the internet. That's how, ganyan nila binapublish yan. Tapos, usually malaki talaga yung requirement ng bonds. I think it's a minimum of 100,000 kung gusto mong bumili ng isang bond. Tama, 100,000 na. Okay? Tapos, this is another sumisikat na investment option sa Philippines, which is the Exchange Traded Fund or ETF. So, ang kaisa-isang ETF na nagtitrade sa Philippine Stock Exchange is the First Metro Philippine Equity Exchange Traded Fund. Okay? Mamaya i-compare ko kung anong pinagkaiba nito sa mutual fund. Pero essentially, parang ganun lang naman. Very same. Very similar. Iba-iba lang yung mga nitty-gritty details nila. Pero essentially, meron kang fund manager na mag-invest ka sa ETF, may isang fund manager na mag-manage ng pera mo, at you don't have to take a look at the stock market every single moment. Kasi ito, nag-trade lang siya once a day. Yung final price na is, it trades only once a day, which is 3 p.m. Makita mo na yung price niya. Pagkasarada bago magsarada ng stock market. And it's very flexible, it provides opportunity for diversity. So diversification yung kanyang pro. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin diversification? Ibig sabihin kasi itong exchange traded fund na to, kaya siya tinawag na fund is, yung fund manager decides kung saan i-distribute, saan i-invest yung pera mo na pinambili mo no shares niya. Okay? So, sometimes yung con naman nito requires time and effort to get the most gain out of it. Okay? So, depende din yan. Siyempre, yung kita nito, yung compare mo siya sa stocks, mas maliit yung kita nito compared sa stocks na, di ba? But it also may be complicated to understand for first-time investors. So, dapat, kung gusto mo talagang pasukin tong exchange traded fund, mag-aral ka. Okay? And syempre, kami, mga advisors kami, we know this. So if you want more advice, we can help you. So for other ETFs that is available for the Philippine market is the iShares, the Invesco, and the ARK Invest. iShares is trading in, I think this is US to, and Invesco is Europe, and ARK Invest is, I think, Europe as well. Pero they hold, they are, it's available for Philippine traders. Okay. Ito naman, yung isa na halos kakambal din ng ETF is a mutual fund or UITF. So essentially, halos pareho lang yung dalawang yan. Pinagkaiba lang ng mutual fund, ang nagmamanage nito or ang tawag doon yung nag-regulate yan. Wala ako sa word. Nag-regulate ang mutual fund is si SEC. And the UITF or Unit Investment Trust na discuss ko kanina sa video, no, it is regulated by Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Kaya ang nag-i-issue ng UITF are banks and ang issue ng mutual fund are mutual fund companies. Okay, yun ang pinakaiba nila. Okay, so just to give you an idea of the mutual funds in the Philippines, so PIFA, let's go to the website of PIFA para mas may idea kayo. Okay, so this is the Philippine Investment Funds Association. So, punta lang kayo sa pifa.com.ph. You'll see all the mutual funds available sa Philippines and how they are faring right now, okay? So for PAMI Equity Index, which is the company I represent, the Film Life, our equity index fund is making kita, diba? 14.84% na ang nilaki ng kanyang interest since 1 year ago. And syempre negative from this is 3 years, 5 years ago kasi bumagsak po ang stock market natin because of COVID. Okay? And ano pa ba? Yung aggressive fund namin, nasan ba si Ayan, strategic fund where it's earning 12.14%. At ang pinakamaganda so far sa stock funds is Sun Life Prosperity World Voyager and Atram Asia Plus Equity Fund. Ayan, talaga magaling si Atram. Okay, so as you can see, it's earning the highest Atram Equity. Atram Asia Plus Equity Fund. So these are Asian stocks. 47.117%. Sa balanced fund, so combination siya ng stock and bond funds. So sino mo kumikita dito? Pinakamaganda so far is PAMI Asia Balanced Fund. This is our own fund. Ano ba? I'm very proud. Our balanced fund is performing at 25.71%. And also Sun Life Prosperity Dollar Advantage Fund is 32.29%. And ano pa ba? Sino pa ba magaling dito? Ayan. And then for bond funds, I'm looking at the 1-year return. No? This is coming from pandemic last year up to this time. Okay. So, ang pinakabadang performance is, nasa na siya? 5.43%, which is the Phil Equity Dollar Income Fund. So, yung mga idea na kayo. And also ito rin. Si Phil Managed Income Fund. That's also our fund. Diba? We're really faring good. And lastly, yung money market fund, which is basically almost cash na funds. Okay? Pinakamagandang performance is ALFM Money Market Fund. I think this is also Atram, if I'm right. And feeder funds. Ayan. Please just go to the pfa.com.ph website to know more. Okay, let's go back here. Yan. So, sino ba yung nag-i-issue ng UITF? Ito, yung mga kilala nating banks. Marami naman dyan. So, ito na yung comparison that I promised you. So, main difference nila is the initial investment usually. Nakakaiba talaga si ETF. Depends on, kasi nagtitrade siya sa stock exchange. So, meron siyang tinatawag na board or lot. So, yung board or lot, yung minimum number of shares that you can buy. Tapos for mutual funds, they do not pay dividends kasi yung dividends na dinideclare ng companies that where they are invested into are automatically reinvesting sa fund. So bumibili siya ng bagong shares. Okay? Same with UITF. So yung ETF, if you're a holder of ETF, ito yung main difference niya, you may get dividends from if you're an investor of ETF. Okay? So, ito yung dalawa sa pinaka-popular sa Philippines. These are government funds. So, si MP2 o Pag-ibig, ang year 2020 per annum rate niya is 6.12%. As you can see, diba, compared dun sa mga bonds before na nakita natin bond funds, this is actually really performing really good. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about MP2. Okay, so still word of caution, this is from the Philippine government. Anytime, bureaucracy and everything, you have to consider. But then, this fund has been really performing really well. Kung gusto natin puntahan ang kanyang website, let's go to NP2, Pag-ibig. Ayan. Makikita natin ang kanyang performance. So as you can see, ito yung kanyang dividend rate. Diba? So it has been performing really good. I would say these are really good rates from 2011 to 2020. Yan. Yung sinasabi ko, you have to consider yung interest rate. Okay, so let's go back to my screen. And then PERA is the personal equity retirement account. This is separate from SSS and GSIS. No, this is something that you can invest as an individual, and it is being offered by banks. And ang catch, syempre pareho to, may catch, is there is an early withdrawal fee if you withdraw any of these funds earlier than, I think, 5 years. Pero malaki pa rin kita, di ba? So at least, you know. Okay, this is something I really want you to know, the cost of financial ignorance. Since nasabi natin kanina, 6% of saved funds for the family's future may be lost kapag you don't study really well, if you don't educate yourself about financial education. No? This is the latest information out from April 2020 ABS-CBN News on COVID-19. The cost of an emergency room visit is 2,500. 500 per checkup to as much as 1,000 pesos per specialist. 2,500 average one night hospital admission. And the cost of critical illness in the Philippines being the second most expensive in Southeast Asia, is between 440,000 to 4 million. And then for COVID-19, as of, this is last year, ewan ko na lang ngayon, kasi nakapanood ako ng TV Patrol news of a few days ago, does cost between 800,000 to 1 million na daw. But it says here 43,000 to 800,000. It depende sa severity ng case, lalo na kung may comorbidity yung inyong patient. So at least you have an idea. These are very updated prices. That's why kailangan ko isingit si VUL. Si VUL kasi is a combination of mutual fund and insurance. So anong ginagawa ng variable life insurance is it protects your income when something happens to you. Diba sabi ko kanina, why does it protect your income? Diba kapag meron kang variable life insurance, you can save here. So meron siyang savings sa loob. And pag nagkasakit ka, say meron kang hospitalization and critical illness coverage, syempre, kung may coverage ka, say 300,000 up, 500,000, 1 million, yun yung syempre magko-cover sa'yo, yung insurance mo, hindi yung pera mo sa loob ng mutual fund. It will stay intact. So long as yung coverage mo is enough to cover for the hospital expenses. Okay? That's what's good about VUL. So your income is protected. Okay? And kapag kinuha ka naman ni Lord ng mas maaga, it also protects yung, kuwari, nag-ipon ka na ng, meron ka ng ipon, no? Meron ka pang additional na pwede mong maipamana sa family mo kapag namatay ka ng maaga or na-aksidente ka and it led to death or even accident, diba? It's also covered. So, meron kang, may alam mo yun, parang, they still can live the same living conditions when they die kapag may insurance ka. When you die. Tapos, of course, you want your family to live. Kasi syempre, pag nawala ka, yung income that they use for daily expenses na nagagaling sa'yo, mawawala din yon. That's why you have to make sure na at least they still live even if kinuha ka na ng Lord. Okay? So, it can also fund education, emergencies, retirement. So, yung mga ganun. The catch with the VUL is meron siyang 5 to 10 years holding period. And you have to understand this. I cannot just not emphasize this. Your insurance is not an ATM. Okay? That's why I always teach my financial advisors to let their clients know na important yung emergency fund before they purchase an insurance. Or pwede na lang pagsabayan yung pag-iipon ng emergency fund tsaka insurance. But never just insurance. Okay, kasi ang insurance po ay may holding period na 5 to 10. Ibig sabihin, kapag winidraw nyo ng maaga ang pera na nilagay nyo sa insurance, pwede na naman kasi i-withdraw. Konting-konti na lang yung mababalik sa'yo because it's supposed to be a long-term investment, not an ATM. Okay? And you have less control for returns because the fund is being managed by a fund manager. Okay. Yan. Okay, let's talk about VULs, no? So yung other 50%. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo that the risk return, syempre yung paano mo ma-manage yung loob, yung fund sa loob is you have to make sure na kapag pa-retire ka na, you go to the safer investment, and kapag bata ka ba, you can go to the investments that have higher return. Okay. So what are the funds available for VULs, no, inside Film Life Insurance? So there are local funds. Yan ang example ng local funds. I will not be talking about the local funds, but I will be talking about these funds that are more exciting, which is our global funds. Yan. It's already available to all Philippine investors. If you want to invest in a film life insurance, these are all available. So let's talk about them. Exciting to. Okay? So I'll talk about the Elite Adventurous Fund. So ano ba tong fund na to? Where is it invested? This is the part that you need to know about the AIA Elite Adventurous Fund. It was launched in July 19 to 2019. And ang kinikita niya 1 year ago, tingnan natin yung date itong fund fact sheet na to, no? This is as of February 2021. Ibig sabihin, itong rate na to, yung 1 year na yan, was versus February 2020. Imagine yung kinita niya is 47.46%. So that's why it's really exciting. So saan naka-invest itong fund na to na nasa loob ng insurance ni Film Life? Look at the investments inside. It's invested in Microsoft, Taiwan Semiconductor, Shopify, Deere & Co, and Starbucks. It's top 5 equities. And meron din siyang bond sa loob. Ano bang composition nito? Ayan. So asset allocation niya, 90% is invested on equities, 5% on fixed income, and 3% or almost 4% in cash and derivative. So ano ba yung nandun sa bonds niya? JP Morgan, Crown Castle, United States Treasury Note Bond. Yes, you're investing in Treasury notes in the US. And BMW Capital, Corp National de Cobre de Chile. Ayan. Okay. And if you take a look at the other funds, let's take a look at the other funds. Let's close this one first. Let's take a look at the Elite Balance Fund. So, ang Balance Fund is a combination of bonds and stocks. Yung isa kasi, yung una is 100% bonds. So, anong composition niya? This is invested in the composition. This one, ayan. So, asset allocation, okay? So, it is invested in 61% stocks and almost 35% fixed income. The rest is in cash derivatives. Tapos, ang regional allocation na mostly in Americas, about 67%. And then Europe is 17.85%. Asia is 15%. And Oceania is 0.39%. So, Saan specifically, again, you will see the same top 5 equities and the very same top 5 fixed income securities. Paano kinita niya? How much kinita niya? It's 34.55%, guys. This is, alam mo yun, 50-50, your 50% stocks or 60% stocks, 40% bonds. And malaki pa rin kinita, it's 35%. Okay? Okay, that's for the balance fund. And then let's go to the third fund, which is yung super conservative fund na to, guys. This is 100% bonds. So, anong composition niya? Okay. So, yung asset composition niya is, meron pa rin siyang super small equity, which is about 32%, and 60% fixed income, and then cash derivative. Okay. And saan siya naka-invest? Very small percent on these stocks, halos 3.71% na lang. And these bonds, mas malaki na yung kanyang bonds. Okay? So, magkano kinita ng conservative? It's 17.29%. Guys, this is really big. Diba? You saw our funds, our local funds, kanina, it's only at, I think the largest I've seen is 35%. And for bond funds, I think the highest I've seen is 1%, 2%, 4%, around ganon. But this is a conservative fund. It's at 17.29% a year ago. So I would say these are fairly good investments. Okay? So those are the things, again, you need to consider when you want to invest. The risk and the time factor. Okay? So I hope you learned something from this presentation. And I hope you do have a great day. Bye.